I'm Debi Chaves with the Daily Lily Gardening Therapy, and tonight I'm going to do a floral arrangement for you. I know that Valentine's is coming, and some of you may be getting red roses, and some of you may be giving red roses. So if you're giving or receiving them, and they come boxed individually, I'm going to show you how to do an arrangement that you will be happy and pleased with once you do this. So let me go through the steps. The first thing you need to do is you need to use a vase that's about 9 to 11 inches tall. Should be a clean vase, no aluminum, and fill it with fresh water. And if you're going to be using roses, the water should be cool. And to the water, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of conditioner. Now, if you don't have conditioner, which usually comes in a little pack, then you can make your own solution by adding 2 parts of lemon lime soda, and that's not diet, to 1 part of water into your water mix. But tonight I've got conditioner, so I'm going to put 1 teaspoon, and this is a little bit more than a pint of water, into my vase, and that will keep the flowers fresh. Now the next thing we're going to need to do is use some greenery. Probably if you purchase flowers, you're going to receive greenery in your bunch. This is baker fern, and I also have some tree fern tonight that I'm going to mix in. Some of you might like lemon leaf or salal, but there's a lot of different greens that you can use in a design. For the baker fern, what we're going to do is we're going to cut the stem so that the bottom leaves just barely touch the rim of the container. And we can measure, cut a little bit off, and I'm going to put about 5 stems of baker fern in this vase, arranged in a ring along the bottom. That's going to create a nice base for our roses. Now also, if you'll notice, my stems are crossed in here, and that creates a weaving pattern so that when you put your roses in, it holds them in place. Now I'm going to add another greenery, which is tree fern, and this is a nice airy fern. I'm going to cut a couple pieces and place this right in between the baker fern. This will add airiness to the design, and it will also add some height. 3 or 4 pieces should be enough. Okay, now once you get your greenery in there, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to select from your roses the nicest, straightest rose in the bunch. And we're going to call that your guide rose. So I've selected one tonight, and this guide rose is going to establish the height of my design. And in a design, you generally want the height to be 1.5 times the height of the container. Therefore, the rose should be right about here if I'm measuring correctly. Now, once I get my height, and I put my finger on the stem, I'm going to cut this rose underwater, because if you don't cut a rose underwater, you can end up with an air bubble that will lodge in the head. That's where you get your drooping roses. You'll notice that I've already stripped this rose, but just to demonstrate methods of stripping if your roses have thorns, if you're lucky enough to have a rose stripper, you're going to grab it right here and just pull that down, and that will strip off all the thorns fairly easily. If you don't have a stripper, you can use a sharp knife and carefully, away from you, strip off the leaves and the thorns, because we don't want any foliage underwater. Okay, now I'm going to take my guide rose, and there's my height, about 1.5 times the container. Got my finger on the point. I'm going to put it underwater and cut it at an angle. You cut the roses at an angle so that they can absorb water. Now I will set this guide rose aside because I'm not ready for it yet. And I'm going to pick out 7 roses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is an easy method to show you how to do this. Take your 7 roses, line them all up, okay? And these roses are going to be cut about 1 inch shorter than your main guide rose. So we get the point right there. Now I'm going to grab them like this, and I'm going to put them all underwater at once and cut them off. Now leave them in water so that they don't get that air bubble in them. And you're ready for your next 4. Get 4 more roses. Line them up. Take your guide rose. And your guide rose now, these roses are going to be about a 1/2 inch below the guide rose. I'm going to cut them off underwater. Okay. Now you take your 7 roses, and these will be the first ones that go in the design. These will make the lower ring, and you're going to place them at a 30-degree angle from your central axis, right around in the line. If there's any foliage, you remember you don't want foliage underwater. And if you have petals that are discolored, these are called the guard petals, and you want them to be removed. So you place the roses equidistant as we go around. And notice that the foliage is holding them in place. And if you like to collect the petals, you can use it for potpourri. And we'll put our final rose in. And this will make our first level of roses. We take our next 4 roses. And this will be our second ring of roses, which will be slightly taller. And we'll position these at the next level up. Moving it around in a circle. And we'll take our final guide rose, make sure the petals are clean. I think this one should be about the right height, and snip it right in there for our middle rose. That's a little tall. I'm going to take a little more off. Okay, and now you've got the structure of your design. Next thing you want to do is take some filler flower. You can use baby's breath, status, but I've selected wax flower tonight. It's a white filler flower. It's fragrant. And you're going to cut some shorter pieces and position these in between your red roses. Now your filler is a secondary flower, so you don't want a lot of it, but I think it adds a nice touch. Now this arrangement is a bit taller than you would use if you get the shorter roses in some stores that you buy them. But I think a nice tall 60-centimeter rose like this looks better in a taller vase. Okay. Now a touch more filler, and this is going to complete your design. And what you'd like to do is change the water every couple days so it stays fresh, and you should have a beautiful arrangement that you've done that looks good. Thanks, and visit us again at www.thedailyrosegarden.com.